Imagine this. Everything you've ever believed about pain is wrong. What if the suffering you've tried to avoid your entire life was not an enemy, but a messenger? What if the heartbreak that shattered you, the failures that humiliated you, the nights you lay awake drowning in despair, were not meaningless tortures, but doorways? Doorways into the most profound transformation of your soul. Today, we journey into the forbidden wisdom of Carl Jung, a wisdom that asks us to face pain not with fear, but with reverence, to look at suffering not as punishment, but as initiation. And by the end of this journey, you may discover that your pain is not just part of your story, it is the path itself. Before we begin, make sure to subscribe, like this video, and share it with someone you know who is carrying invisible wounds. And as you watch, comment below, what has pain taught you? Your reflection might be the key to someone else's healing. Let's begin. Carl Jung did not see pain the way we do today. For most of us, pain is something to eliminate, to numb, to silence. We swallow pills, we drown in distractions, we keep ourselves endlessly busy so we don't have to feel it. But Jung believed pain was symbolic, archetypal, a force of nature that was never meaningless. Every ache, every wound, every heartbreak is a message. When you feel pain, your psyche is speaking. Think about your life. The breakup that nearly destroyed you, didn't it also force you to find your own worth? The failure you thought was the end, didn't it push you onto a path you might never have chosen otherwise? The loss that broke your heart, didn't it also show you what truly matters? Pain is not chaos, it is communication. The question is, are you listening? But most of us don't listen. We run. We drown pain in entertainment. We bury it under addictions. We silence it with endless scrolling, endless shopping, endless noise. Yet Jung warned, what we avoid does not disappear. It festers. It grows stronger. It returns, disguised as anxiety, depression, emptiness. Have you noticed? The more you try to escape pain, the louder it becomes, like a shadow that follows you no matter how fast you run. And that is no accident. For Jung, pain is often the voice of the shadow. The shadow is everything we repress, the anger we're not allowed to feel, the grief we never expressed, the fears we pretend don't exist, the power we're too afraid to own. And when we bury these parts of ourselves, they don't vanish. They live on in the unconscious, and they speak through pain. Imagine a wound you've hidden for years, a heartbreak you never grieved, a betrayal you never forgave. That wound doesn't disappear. It becomes the source of quiet suffering, the background ache that shapes your choices without you even knowing it. This is why Jung said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Pain is the shadow's cry. It is your own buried self calling out to you. But Jung also taught that pain is not only personal, it is collective. He believed in the collective unconscious, a reservoir of shared archetypes, myths, and patterns that connect us all. And so our suffering is not only ours, it is humanity's itself. Look at the modern world. We are surrounded by comfort, instant food, instant pleasure, instant distraction. Yet rates of depression, anxiety, and emptiness are higher than ever. Why? Because we've built a culture that denies pain, a culture obsessed with pleasure, comfort, and escape. We have forgotten the sacred role of suffering. And when a culture rejects pain, Jung warned, it collapses into neurosis. Is this not what we see today? A society endlessly stimulated, yet starving for meaning. A collective wound festering beneath the surface. Our personal pain is woven into this greater tapestry. Your suffering is not only yours, it is part of the human condition itself. Pain does not come to us faceless. It wears masks, archetypes. The wounded child. This is the part of you that still longs for safety, for love, for care. Many of our adult struggles are echoes of this unmet child. When you feel abandoned, when you feel unseen, when your pain feels overwhelming, often it is this child crying inside you. But instead of listening, we silence it with distractions, and the pain deepens. The trickster. Sometimes pain arrives through chaos, through sabotage. Have you ever chosen the very thing you knew would hurt you and did it anyway? That is the trickster at play. It looks destructive, but it hides a gift. It shatters illusions, forcing transformation. The warrior's wound. There is also the archetype of the wounded warrior, the part of you that endures, that fights, that carries scars with dignity. This pain is not here to destroy, but to strengthen. Pain, then, is archetypal. It is myth alive inside you. Each wound carries a story older than you, older than humanity itself. Every great myth tells the same story. The hero must descend into the underworld, not to die, but to return transformed. For Jung, this was not just myth, it was the map of the human psyche. When you suffer, you are being called to descend, to leave behind the surface, the mask, the persona, and to enter the depths of your soul. This descent feels like death, the death of your identity, the death of certainty, but it is not the end. It is initiation. Pain is your underworld, and only by descending into it can you return with treasure. What is your underworld? What pain have you been refusing to face? That is the doorway you must walk through. Alchemy was the ancient art of turning lead into gold. Jung saw alchemy as a symbol of psychological transformation, and pain, he believed, is the fire of this alchemy. Pain burns away illusions, it strips false identities, it exposes what is real. Think of the times you've suffered most. Weren't those also the times that changed you most? The fire hurt, but it forged you. We spend our lives chasing pleasure and avoiding pain, but it is pain, not pleasure, that transforms. It is pain that awakens the soul. The goal is not to eliminate pain, it is to integrate it. Wholeness, Jung taught, is more important than goodness. To be whole is to embrace every part of yourself, joy and sorrow, light and darkness, strength and vulnerability. Pain is not here to shatter you. It is here to make you whole. When you stop running, you begin to listen, and when you listen, pain becomes a teacher. In its teaching, it transforms. You begin to see the wound was never the enemy, it was the path. Pain without reflection is torture. But pain embraced with awareness becomes meaning. And meaning is the ultimate gift. It is what allows us to endure. It is what turns wounds into wisdom. It is what transforms suffering into growth. Jung believed that meaning is not found by avoiding pain, but by walking directly into it, by asking, what is this pain trying to show me? What truth does it carry? Pain is not meaningless. It is the soul's way of leading you to meaning. Here lies the paradox at the heart of Jung's teaching. To experience authentic joy, fulfillment, and peace, you must be willing to face your deepest pain. Not run from it, not numb it, not hide it, but enter it fully, courageously, without filters. This is shadow integration. This is individuation, the process of becoming whole. Your deepest wound is your doorway to your highest self. Your suffering is not punishment. It is initiation. So, let me ask you, what pain have you been running from? And what might happen if you turn toward it instead? Maybe the very suffering you fear most is the key to your transformation. Maybe your wound is not your weakness, but your greatest